Hi there, so Spencer here. Just sort of make a new video of some new products that we've obviously got available for customers. This is in terms of like the s54 e30 engine conversion builds we do. So basically, as you can see, this is the thermostat housing of the s54. That part obviously unbolts directly off the top of the water pump, and there's obviously this water housing in there. Now that water housing literally is just in with two O-rings. Try and pull that out, one sec. So that's the housing itself. So what we've done is we've created this aluminium housing, and that is tapped out to take the original E30 water temperature sensor. So that basically fits straight in there, just like the factory item. You can actually angle it whichever direction you want if you're point the actual sensor downwards, which is how we fit them. So we point the sensor down like that to miss the throttle bodies. As you can see, we've created a 6mm flat area, so M6 hole there. That's just for you to create an earth point, because this housing sits on two O-rings. It isn't actually contacting any aluminium on either end, so you can basically create your own earth. We run a cable with two little eyelets on from there to here, or one of these bolts, and that just earths through the engine then, so the E30 temperature gauge can work perfectly in the actual in the car on the clocks. And the reason that is that the S54 it has a coolant temperature sensor in the block itself, or in the cylinder head or the water system. But it actually has four wires on, and two of the wires in that one plug goes into the ECU, and the other two, which are would have been a black sensor if it was on its own, the other two go into the S54 E46 gauges. Now they're the wrong ohms between the two sensors, so the E30 ohms to run the clocks on the E30 clocks are different to the S54, so you can't just wire into the original S54 4-pin plug. To run the clocks properly on the E30 temperature gauge, you need the brown sensor in, which is what that is. That's the factory BMW brown sensor. So that's just a nice little fitting. We obviously sell them, so they're going to be online very soon. We'll sell them as a kit, so we're going to sell them with the actual aluminium machine part, the sensor, and a little earth cable. So we could supply the O-rings as well, and the thermostat O-rings. We'll probably do the whole kit. But if you're interested, if there's something that you're interested in, if you want to run the proper temperature on the E30 system on the gauge, this is the kit you need. The S54, if you wire into that temperature sensor signal from the engine for the clocks for the E30, you'll actually read only a quarter on the temperature gauge, so you won't get a true reading. So if your temperature gauge ever goes up past half, you're well in the red on the boiling up of the engine. So it is vital that you actually have the correct temperature signal from the actual E30 setup. So the next thing we do is, so that's that pipe, basically complete replacement of that pipe. The next thing we do is, on the S54 swaps, you have this oil temperature sensor on this oil pan basically. This is a thermal oil temperature sensor, and that basically controls the rev counter on the clocks on the S54. So on the M346, basically as the engine heats up, the little green lights go into yellow, then red on the rev counter. They move position as the engine gets warm. This is the item that basically does that, and this obviously works through CAN bus. So this oil level sensor doesn't work in the E30 chassis. So this is supposed to send signals to the E30 chassis. So what we do is we actually use a 525 E34 oil level sensor. Now you have to rebend this bottom bracket and then repaint it so it clears the sump, so that it's not a very difficult thing to do. Just reshape that bottom piece there. But this oil level sensor, this one is designed to work with the same signals as a e30 needs. So on the trip control panel above your head near the sun visor, you'll have oil level there, and basically you need two signal wires, oil level static, oil level dynamic. That sensor won't feed the e30 trip control computer, yet this one will. The only difference being with this one is the depth in what it sits in the car, so in the actual oil pan. So you can see the actual depth on this one is shallower because the oil pan is shallower. So what we've created is a aluminium machined part which mimics the O-ring groove of this aluminium piece. And then what you do is you buy this sensor. So you buy this sensor, you fit an O-ring in there, you then slide our O-ring piece down, and then once it's down all the way, it's really snug fit actually. So, but once it's down all the way, you then go ahead and put another O-ring on top of this one. So it's quite difficult to do one-handed, but we made it snug so it seals properly. But anyway, long story short, you run this to space this sensor out of the oil pan, and basically allow you to run this proper sensor. So this sensor which will feed all the information to the e30 clocks, the check control above, the part number for that sensor. So that sensor's part number is this. We buy these from basically BMW, direct from BMW, and yeah, that one will work with the BMW setup. So you'll still have your oil level come up or ping up on the clock inside the car, and that allows you to then keep an eye on your oil level without actually having to open the bonnet and you know, basically check the oil. So if you give me 1 second, I will just fit this part so you can see it actually fitted. So as you can see, the aluminium piece is now down snugly on there, and as you can imagine, there's two seals, one on the bottom, one on the top. The principle is it just basically spaces this out a little bit. Still gives the correct reading because you're reading the very top of the oil pan and the oil level inside the S54 pan. So if there's something there that you'd like, you know, by all means give us a call. These will be online available to purchase, but we've had these custom machined up for the S54 swaps that we do. Cheers, take care, thank you, bye bye.